can see some, I've got a thumbs up from Danielle. I can see some familiar faces. Alex Kent, I think we've spoken before. Julie, who else have we got? Yep, so we've got a few on today.
That's good. So we've hit 11 o'clock, so we'll give it another minute or so whilst everyone kind of jumps on board. As always, thanks to everyone that's joining us. It's really lovely as this kind of journey continues to see a bunch of familiar faces, a bunch of familiar names that kind of, you know, log in. So thanks so much for all your support in that regard. And, you know, as always, another real public thank you to Suzie, because Suzie's been so supportive of what we've been doing. She gives up her time every single week for free to do this, and she doesn't have to. So thanks so much for thanks so much for your input each and every week. So those of you that are new to this, because I think a couple of people are, which is great, welcome on board. Suzie kind of had a chat with us for 20-25 minutes, and she kind of sets out some parameters of keeping positive and keeping our mind, you know, in where we need it to be, and it gives us some real great tips and advice on how to do that. And there's an opportunity to ask a few questions at the end. So as always, as I always say, people aren't here to hear from me. That's my introduction done. Over to the incredible Suzie. Thanks once again.
Thank you. What a welcome, Paul. Thank you so much. And thank you everyone for turning up today and hearing me speak. And congratulations to, well, Paul and everyone that's contributed to this community to get us to 1,000 members. That's a huge milestone. So yeah, let's make it to 2,000. Can't wait. So I'm going to share, just remind me at the end, but I'm going to share a link to my newsletter. So I send out a weekly newsletter for mindset tips. So if people want more of what I'm talking about and what I'm sharing with you today, then you can sign up to that and get that in your inbox every Friday at 7. So today I'm going to be talking about how to find a way out of uncertainty and back to calm. I think there's no denying that we are in a very uncertain time, and the brain doesn't like uncertainty. The brain is always searching for answers. It likes to find certainty, and that's when we can start to get out of control with our thoughts, you know, with our emotions, and start to all get into that thought loop of just overthinking. There's a lot of fear with assistants and in other roles around fear of furlough, and I really want to talk about how we can shift our emotional response in this webinar and just, you know, move past that uncertainty and just set the intentions for the future that we want to create, and have more awareness about what we can and what we can't control and what we can do about that. So firstly, I'd say that we're always faced with uncertainty. We're always going to be faced with uncertainty. Even before this pandemic started, you know, there was uncertainty, but it wasn't an immediate threat. You know, there was uncertainty of like, I don't know where I'm going to be living in 5 years. I don't know if I'm going to be in the same job in a year's time. I don't know if I'll get a pay rise or a bonus. But these are things that are manageable, that don't get us into fight and flight. And we also don't pay attention to them because they're more on a subconscious level. We're not really consciously aware of them. They're in the background, so we don't really need to worry about them. But when there's something which is effectively an immediate threat, such as, you know, COVID-19, we can then start to go into that fight and flight mode, which is our fear responses. So we have something in the brain called the amygdala, which is our emotional center, and that fires off, you know, chemicals and neurons, etc. when we get into fear, you know, which uncertainty creates. Uncertainty creates fear in ourselves. But the thing is, when we get into that fight and flight mode, we actually lower our immune system, and it also inhibits our ability to think creatively. So some of the things that you might have noticed or seen others, or the things that I see when we get into fight and flight and we're starting to panic over our jobs, particularly the things I'm seeing, and please share with me what's coming up for you. Oh, also, can I just ask everyone just to put themselves on mute, just so there's no background noise? I forgot to say that, because otherwise it's just a bit distracting when I'm talking. Thanks, guys. Thanks, ladies. Thanks, everyone. So yeah, so some of the things that I'm seeing coming up, and please again share in the comments what's coming up from you for you in terms of how you're acting and reacting differently since, you know, the global pandemic is here. So, you know, people are working harder, they're doing longer hours. People can be more reactive instead of proactive when they're in that fight and flight mode, when they're, you know, in a place of uncertainty and fear. Perhaps we can act also irrationally, perhaps trying to prove ourselves by doing another course or another webinar because we feel that we need to, you know, be good enough. We need to stand out from the crowd. You know, if I do this webinar, if I do this course, if I work harder, then I can keep my job. Does that resonate with anyone? Please share if it does. If it doesn't, that's fine. But if it does, please share. And like if other stuff is coming up for you, that's the stuff that I've been noticing in myself and in other people and what I've seen online. But the reason we do all this, the reason we act like this, is because basically our brains are wired to keep us safe. Like I said at the beginning of the webinar, our brain doesn't like uncertainty. Okay, our brain, you know, is always seeking certainty rather. It's always looking for answers. So I'm going to share two things with you. One, there will always be uncertainty in our lives. There will always be things that we just can't control. So Selena said, yes, I've been focusing on improving my skills, but that is essential, I think, in this climate. Yeah, it is, as long as you do it in a proactive way and not a reactive, panicking way, because there's a difference. You know, if you're panicking and you're just reactive, you're not focused. But if you're sitting down and being proactive, then that's great. So just not recognizing, you know, where you're coming from. Like, are you coming from a place of thinking logically, or you're coming from a place of panic? So yeah, absolutely, definitely a good time to up level your skill set, but just make sure you recognize where you're coming from in terms of taking that action. Is it from a place of panic or a place of just, you know, this makes sense right now? So yeah, two things. There will always be uncertainty in our life, but there's also many things that we can control. So how do we find our way back to calm? That's the question really, isn't it? So I want to share a story with you, which is quite vulnerable, but I'm happy to share it because I shared it before and I think it will inspire others. So in the last few years have been quite challenging for me. So I feel excited to be here and sharing my knowledge and what I've learned and taken away in my life. But I remember the fateful day on the 22nd of October 2018. I'd had a major mountain bike accident the previous year. And I was still actually recovering from the injury. I hadn't gone back to corporate. I was building my business. I had a part-time job just to subsidize my business while it grew. And I'd made the decision at the time to invest money, lots of money, into a cryptocurrency scheme, into Bitcoin. And it hit home because I discovered it at the weekend, but it hit home on that day, on that Monday, the 22nd of October, that I'd actually been conned out of thousands and thousands of pounds of money. And at first I felt, you know, definitely, I think over the weeks and months, I felt guilt, I felt shame, you know, and I've worked all through that. But the other things that happened that day were I was still on health insurance from my accident, and I knew that was going to stop any moment. In fact, it stopped about 2 months later. I had £50 in the bank, and to top it off, those that are self-employed will be very familiar, I know Paul will be, with that nice brown envelope that arrives through your front door from HMRC. In fact, this letter said that I owed them £12,500 as a tax bill, and literally I just went into fight and flight. All my emotions kicked in, the fear, everything. As it turned out, I'd filled out my tax return form wrong, and actually they owe me £1,500. So, you know, that helped for sure. But over the coming months, you know, there was definitely lots of things that I did to move myself out of where I was. And I recognized that I was spending a lot of time in fear around money, in overwhelm, not knowing, you know, how was I going to get through the future, so much uncertainty, fear that I was going to lose my home, that I was going to lose my cat, that I was going to be homeless. My thoughts started spiraling. And I remember on New Year's Eve, I made a decision to go and see my friend in St Albans, my hometown. And I spent £50, which was a lot of money back then. But I set the intention, and I think intentions are so powerful. And I set the intention to step out of fear. I knew that I didn't want to go into the new year being in that place of fear, and I choose to step into a more positive emotion and step into hope and take more aligned action. So for me, it was really, really a difficult situation, but, you know, I chose to shift my emotions. I chose to shift what I focus on. I chose to focus on my business. I set intentions, and I literally just took action. But it's a prime example, isn't it, of the stories that we tell ourselves in our head. Like, is there evidence around those stories, and are these stories moving us forward, or are they holding us back? So that's a really good question to ask yourself. Is this story I'm telling myself moving me forward, or is it holding me back? And remember, 95, as I said before, 95% of the time, the stories that we tell ourselves are not true. It's just our brain trying to keep us safe, but we are not being chased by a saber-toothed tiger anymore. So we can let that go. So there are definitely things that we can't control. Like, we can't control the stock market, we can't control the economy, we can't control being in lockdown, okay? But what we can control is how we react to a situation. So I want to really share a beautiful quote by a lady called Maya Angelou. And she says, "You may not control all the events that happen to you, but you can decide not to be reduced by them." And I thought that was a really powerful quote. Effectively, what it's saying is that you can choose how you react to an event. How you react to an event equals your outcome. So event plus reaction equals outcome. When you choose and take the, become more aware of your emotional response and change your reaction to the event, you change the outcome that you get. So, it's about finding that sweet spot between calm and uncertainty, and also knowing that you're doing the best that you can with the knowledge that you have. We all are. We've been thrown into such uncertain times. So I want to ask you 3 questions, and you can write these down and journal on them later. But I want you to dig a little bit deeper with them and really find out what's underneath the core of it all. So the first question is, what are you worried about? Now, you maybe say, I'm worried about losing my job, for example. This is just an example. But what is it about losing your job that you're worried about? Is it that you're going to lose the income? Is it that you're worried that your CV is going to look jumpy? If you're worried about the income, is it then that you're worried about not paying the bills, not supporting your family, being homeless? Where are your thoughts going to? Just get really curious with it and really explore it, because the more we explore our thoughts, we can then challenge those thoughts and just check in and go, where is the evidence, And then by, checking in, we can move away from that uncertainty and move ourselves back to calm, because we realize there is no evidence, or, that we have a solution. So the next question was what is within your control? Because there are always things that are within your control. So if you're worried about losing your job and the financial impact of something like that, then what can you do? Can you have a conversation with your manager to see what the situation is with your boss? Can you update your CV? What action can you take? What are you in control of around this situation? If, God forbid, you are out of work, and I haven't read Eva's message fully because it's quite a long one. I will read it in a moment, but I can see that she said that she lost her job prior to COVID-19 and prior to lockdown. But what is within your control? The next question is what can you do to better prepare? Can you schedule certain times in your day to work on your job search? Can you make new contacts? What can you do to better prepare? Because whatever happens in our life, what's happened to me is that I can learn from those experiences, and I can better prepare for other eventualities which may come up in my life. So really do remember, focus on what you can control, not what you can't control. Because when you focus on what you can't control, you get into a state of anxiety and fear and overwhelm, and you're focusing on what you don't want effectively, and that's never going to be good for you. So come back to the present moment, focus on what is within your control. Can you build up your skill set like Selena's doing? That is within your control. That is something you can do better, okay? So those are the things that I would say to you there. And and this is one that really struck with me. It's something my coach shared with me, and I wanted to share it with you. Dry throat. Focus on the possibilities, not the limitations. How often do we all focus on the limitations that we have in our life? I can't do this. That's not possible. I can't do that. That's not going to help you at the end of the day. That's just going to create more uncertainty, more fear, more anxiety. Focus on your possibilities. What are your possibilities? So whether it's job hunting or whatever it may be, focus on your possibilities. Focus on what is possible, because so much is possible, right? So again, focus on your strengths. That you are more resilient and adaptable than you actually realize. And make a list of your strengths. I mean, one of the home play tasks I set for my client the other day was, we were exploring our strengths, and I said, right, write a list of your strengths, have them written up, print them out, write them on a sticky note or whatever, but put them somewhere that you can see them every day. Put it like on the cupboard that you open where you've got your tea bags or your coffee, so you see it in the first thing in the morning, and read those strengths. Remind yourself of how much you are capable of, how much possibilities you have, okay? Because you have so many possibilities. So focus on what is possible and what you can do and what you can achieve. You are, like as I often say, out of adversity comes strength. And I say this because I know this, because I've had, a fair share of adversity, and out of that adversity has come strength, has come resilience, and it's helped me move back to a place of calm. It's helped me get in touch with my emotions and know that I can check in with myself and go, how am I feeling? How, what are the stories I'm telling myself? So be kind to yourself. And if you're worried about, being on furlough, losing money, look at where you can cut back. These are things that I've had to do myself. I can see Jacqueline is nodding. Like, are there subscriptions like for magazines or membership sites that you just don't need? You can come back to them later. Can you cancel your membership or for your gym or put it on hold? Like I've had to do this. I know other people will have done it as well. Can you sell stuff that you don't need? Have a look around your home. What don't you need? Post offices are still open. In fact, I had a look on my bookshelf the other day, and I gifted 3 PA books, put a post on LinkedIn and Facebook in Lucy's Executive Secretary magazine group, and said, I've got these 3 PA books. I know that I'm not going to read them because I read mindset and business books. So I gifted them. So I took them to the post office. But like, what can you sell? What can you do if money is a worry, that you can increase your income? Because, £10 will add, up. It all adds up. So really think about, what you can do and how you can think outside the box. Can you create a side hustle if you've been an assistant for 20 years? Can you create a VA side hustle? Is that something that's worth exploring for you? Because if you've got 20 years experience, you're already a VA. You just need the business side of it and the mindset side, which is obviously what I do. So really have to think about how you can think outside the box, research, have a plan for action, think ahead in the future. And also I'd say is like monitor your progress. Like if you feel that something's not working out how you'd like it to work, just adjust like 1 millimeter or 1%, because that slight and small adjustment will actually make quite a big shift for you. And remember, as I said before, you always have a choice in how you act and respond. I know it's easy to slip into panic, worry, and anxiety and into uncertainty. And sometimes we get into that place because other people are panicking. Other people are getting anxious and feeling uncertain. But we don't need to be in their energy. We don't need to feel like them. So I really encourage you to think about your friends and your family members. Who are the people that like lift you up, that make you feel good? Who are the people that help you find solutions? Are there people that are more negative than you'd like to be? And that's their journey. I'm not saying that you can't support them, but if you're finding that you're feeling anxious or there's a lot of fear, then really be mindful around the people that you spend time with, and just really just really surround yourself with the people that do support you and help you move forward. Another thing to do is like really get curious with your thoughts. Like when you have a negative thought come in, related around uncertainty and fear, etc., then just check in with yourself and ask yourself, oh, that's an interesting thought. Get curious with it. Where did it come from? Is it something that you taught yourself? Is it something society taught you? Is it something that you learned when you were a child? Where did it come from? So let me just read some of the comments, because there's quite a few here. So Joanna said that Yeah, so Eva said, lost my job to COVID-19 prior to lockdown and was relieved that Brexit had been completed as it's affected the job market. Upon lockdown, I had a meltdown and then I decided to limit my news intake, and try and control what I have the capability to control. Exactly, great stuff. This is giving me like goosebumps. Join webinars, improve my skill set, keep in touch with the agencies on a loose basis and follow the lockdown guidelines. Amazing, Eva, and I'd love to hear how that helps you. Just by shifting away from those negatives, and I've said it before, I hardly watch the news. I check in once a day to read the headlines, make sure I'm up to date. But, you know, like, I don't want to let the news and the negativity control me. Emmanuel, I don't like the brown envelopes. Well, unless it's a tax refund. Yeah, I know what you mean. That you never know what's inside, do you? Can you say that quote again? Yeah, I can say that quote again if I find it. The quote is, you may not control all the events that happen to you, but you can decide not to be reduced by them. You may control all the events that happen to you. You may not control all the events that happen to you, but you can decide not to be reduced by them. It's by a lady, Maya Angelou. I've got her book, but I haven't actually read it yet, so I need to read that. So Joanna is saying that she was made redundant before lockdown and anxious about getting back into the market after 23 years in the same company. How do you think how do I think myself and potential employers out of that mindset that I'm institutionalized? I think just highlight your strengths, Joanna. Like, yes, you've got one industry, but you've got 23 years of experience. I don't know whether you're an assistant or what you do, but that's 23 years of experience. That's huge. I had 22. And, you know, no one is ever going to be able to take that away from you. So stop focusing on, you know, like the limitations of what I've been institutionalized in one industry and one company. Focus on your possibilities, focus on your strengths and shift that, flip the switch. As Corinne says, like, they'll respect your loyalty. Jacqueline Clement says, I want to explore, you know, being a VA. Well, pop me a message, we can have a chat. Joanna, thanks for support and advice. Lots of messages. Pili, hi Pili. Just write down positive affirmations and consciously believe in yourself. Don't concentrate on worldly circumstances. There's always be something to worry about, and you will draw a new job into your life. And that's great advice, Pili. Thank you for sharing that. It's absolutely great advice. Affirmations are great. Flipping the switch from the negative to the positive are great. I'm noticing the shift. So I'm always trying to say positive news is always negative. Yeah, the news sells fear. It literally sells fear. I mean, how often do you tune into the news and it's selling unicorns and rainbows? Never. I wish. I'd love to buy a unicorn, but it doesn't happen. And Paul is going, yeah, no. So Maya Angelou, yes, she has plenty of wise quotes, and I really must read her book. She has quite an inspiring story. So Pili, your feelings will bring you down. Yeah, so Pili's got a really good mindset, and I love what she says here, and will control you. Just believe things will change, and they will, because you have the energy and the mindset to find that job. Yes, believe you can, and you will. Jacqueline, ageism was 60 last Sunday. Plenty of life in me, but employers don't want mature ladies. Well, is that evidence, or is that a belief that you have, Jacqueline, about employees don't want mature ladies? How can you flip the switch on that? Do, you know, employers want people with experience? So just have a think about how you can reframe that. So live in the present moment, don't focus on the past and the future. Yes, all we have is the present moment. So I'm going to come back to the comments because I've still got stuff to share and I want to make sure we cover it all. So I was just saying about getting curious with your thoughts, spend your time with the people that are positive. Think about your what ifs. Are you saying, what if I lose my job? What if I can't pay my bills? What if I get homeless? Again, let's flip the switch. What if I keep my job? What if I get a better job? What if I get a pay rise? You know, what if I get a promotion? One of my clients just got pay rise. Flip the switch, literally flip it to the opposite, because anything is possible. You know, believe you can and you will. And as I've said before, the brain literally does not know the difference between imagination and reality. So really use that to your advantage. Get that visualization going, get into that feeling or seeing or hearing, and just make it bigger and stronger. And just imagine yourself in 6 months or 12 months time with your VA business set up, or, you know, at the same company or at a new company. Visualize what the desk looks like. You know, what do you have on the desk? Do you have one monitor? Do you have two? You know, just visualize everything, because when we visualize, we can create our reality. The brain does not know the difference, so we can trick the brain. And lastly, you know, just I want to say, look after your house, because it's really important, if you want to feel calm and in a good place, that you look after yourself. So eat well, drink lots of water, go to bed early or on time, meditate, do yoga or do exercise, because when we do exercise and we're healthy and we look after our body and our mind, we don't release the cortisol and adrenaline, which is the stress hormone. We actually shift and we start releasing dopamine and serotonin. And these are chemicals which regulate your mood. They're like the happy chemicals. So maybe times you're feeling anxious and like, I don't want to exercise, I don't want to go outside, I don't want to go for a walk. But trust me, do you want to stay where you are, feeling low and depressed and anxious, or do you want to just do that 10-minute walk? Because trust me, it will shift your mood and it will help you come back to a place of calm. And lastly, I just want to finish with sort of saying this: if you are struggling, ask for help. Ask for help with what you need. Don't go it alone. So let me just read back through the comments. Age, yeah, to live in the present moment. Jacqueline said, will do. I was given your contact card at the PA show. I'll find you on LinkedIn. Ah, Jacqueline, hello. Yes, I think my my client Karima gave you my card. Okay, yeah, pop me a message and we can have a chat. Pilly said, but it's not easy. One has to be conscious daily. Yeah, you can argue it's not easy, but again, I have to be mindful of your language. It's about being consistent. The more you do these things and all these things that I'm sharing, things do start to shift. But the key is consistency. NLP, our thoughts instantly. Jacqueline, sorry, I'm not sure what that means. I was temping in my last job and they would love a mature lady. That's what they are looking for. Exactly. So Pilly has, you know, saying to Jacqueline that that's what they're looking for. Remember, it's just a story. It's just a story that they're not looking for a mature lady. Where's the evidence? You know, that, you know, is there evidence? And it's discrimination. So no. Is my and Paul, I'm sure Paul, when I finish reading the comments, Paul will have his own opinions as a recruiter. He's nodding, so I know he will. Jacqueline, what industry was it, Pilly? So Eva said, Suzie, I felt less anxious, which is great. So it's a step forward. I realised that this COVID-19 lockdown and many are in a difficult situation, yes. Friends seem to be more accessible and were in touch with me. Great. They lift me up. Brilliant. And I learned laughter is a good tonic. Absolutely. For one's soul. Yeah, laugh with your friends. You know, spend time with your kids, your grandkids. And I love to put on Happy by Pharrell Williams because it literally gets me up dancing. I need structure in my day and the webinars provide that. Fantastic. Yeah, create structure in the day. That's another great tip. I'm trying to focus on the strengths. Okay, so I'd say take out the word trying because it's a wishy-washy statement. Say, I am focusing on the strengths. Send that message to your brain of what you are doing, not I'm trying. You're not trying to focus on your strengths. You are. I am trying. I am focusing on my strengths. So no trying here. And not give up on the thought of a possible opportunity, be it part-time or in a different field. Okay, so connections are happening. That's great. Fantastic. So Eva says she does so many comments today. I do exercise and do 10 minutes of mindfulness too on midweekdays. Fantastic. Julie, I feel I am stuck. Okay, so change the language there in the legal secretary mindset. It is PAs these days, and because I have mainly had legal secretarial jobs, I find I'm at a disadvantage not having carried out lots of actual PA duties, which I know I can do. Well, if you know that you can do it, then focus on that and you can manifest that into your reality. And ask yourself, get curious, where did that thought or that belief come from around that you're at a disadvantage? You're not. You still have so many skills, and also there's loads of online training. I know that Paul Pennant's just brought out some new stuff, so you do have opportunities. So focus on your possibilities, not your limitations. Jacqueline said, ASB neighbour in lockdown is extremely hard to get to sleep. Was woken up at 5 a.m. yesterday. I'm sorry to hear about that. I'm not sure what ASB means though. Is it ASBO? Does that mean ASBO? I'm not sure. Hilly, this is why I say you have to force yourself. It's a daily exercise. Yeah, it's like just get up and do it. Like I've talked before, like just do 15 minutes or do 25 minutes on the Pomodoro time and just start. Even if you don't want to do it, just start, because once you've started, you get the momentum going. Eva, so true, laughter and friendships help at this difficult time. Yes, and like create friendships from this group. You know, structure's good. Okay. So I'm a legal secretary for 40 years, but I love PA work. Great. So, you know, talk about that, talk to people. And I'm sure when things pick up, Paul will be able to help you in that regard and have his own input. Emmanuel, what's a legal secretary mindset? A legal secretary is just a job title and should not define you. Excellent. Yes. Thanks, Susie. Could you just repeat those 3 questions you asked, you mentioned earlier? I can. What is it you're worried about? So what is it you're worried about? What is within your control, and what can you do better to prepare? So what is within your control, and what can you do better to prepare? Okay, I'm just going to start whizzing through the questions a little bit more. Yeah, legal secretary does the same admin tasks as a PA. So yeah, exactly. Just reframe it. You know, anything's possible. Great connections are happening, which I love to see. My gosh, so many comments. Admin skills are transferable across any industry. That's the beauty. I'm not limiting myself to financial services. Love to work in a creative, environment. Exactly. That's fantastic. PA work is easy. I've worked as an admin assistant, a bilingual secretary, a variety of different things, including legal secretary. Fantastic. Okay, I'm loving that everyone's connected, and please do connect because we can support each other. Yeah.
I'm just going to jib in because it's great that there's loads of like chat between the two, between everybody. But just I've read through them all, and there is a question just to kind of, because there's a lot, it's I love the fact that everyone's chatting. It's amazing. But I just wanted to draw your attention to the question. And it was, could you repeat the 3 questions from earlier to ask us?
Yeah, I just did that, but I'll do it again. So the 3 questions were, what is it that you're worried about? Okay, so what is it that you're worried about? What is within your control? What is within your control? And what can you do to better prepare? Okay, great. So I'm just going to pop in the link to my mindset newsletter. So if anyone wants to sign up to that and get weekly mindset tips, then they can have access to that. Brilliant. Loads of engagement today. Some really good questions. And I really love the reframe that everyone else has given around the whole legal PA thing and how, and what's your view on that, Paul, around the whole legal PA and the mature assistant?
It's a question, listen, it's a question that we get asked all of the time. The question comes up a lot about ageism and experience and stuff like that, that there's been a shift into younger generation and bits and pieces like that. From what I can tell you, 100% as a fact, we've never encountered any of our clients ever say that somebody is a no on a job because they're either too young or too old. It's just we've never had that. I don't want to detract from the main thing that we're talking about today, which is mindset and what have you. But if anybody has got questions that they want to ask about recruitment, I'm available at 3 o'clock this afternoon for an open forum to answer any questions that anyone may have. Just have a look on the page for the links to join the conversation.
Yeah, and I agree. I think we need to keep the focus for today's session, which is mindset, around mindset. And if there's any recruitment tips specifically around like ageism or being in a certain role for a long time, then please readdress those to Paul at 3 o'clock, and he will give you his recruitment tips. So yeah, a few more comments coming in about friendships and humor. Did anyone have any question or any feedback or anything they want to ask me around mindset? You can take yourself off mute, or you can just literally pop in the chat. Please let me know what you thought of the webinar, just so that I know that I'm again delivering and it's what you need to hear. So Jacqueline said, love in the chat this morning.
Yeah. I've got to say, Susie, this is, when we first started speaking about this, a good few weeks ago, could we ever imagine that we would be getting consistently these big numbers every single week? Yeah. Could we imagine that we would be bringing so many people together and everybody's chatting and communicating and that real sense of community? And it's exactly what we've been trying to do. And today has been fantastic because we've had great advice, but also people are really taking on board that advice and helping as many people as each other out. I think it's been a really lovely moment.
There's a couple of questions that have come in, and I don't know whether people know that they're messaging me privately, so I assume that they don't know. Lay sent me a message privately, and Joanne sent me a message privately, like you can change it so you can send it to everyone. So I kind of, is it Lay, assume it's okay to share this point, it doesn't seem particularly private. She's just asking about, you know, how do you get over that feeling of what's the point? Again, it's just flip the switch. Like, you know, you're focusing on the negative, flip the switch. What's the point of what? I mean, I've heard myself say this, flip the switch of saying, what's the point of doing a job search? Just saying, I'm really grateful I have a laptop and I'm really excited about, you know, the opportunities that I can apply for. So again, flip the switch. Meditation techniques you could recommend to help prepare for re-entering the marketplace. I would just say create a meditation practice. I do meditation every morning. Find what's right for you. There's different apps like mindfulness, calm, insight timer. There's different types of meditation. You can message me privately if you want to find out more. There's so many messages, I'm trying to keep up with them. You know, very interesting, thank you. How to Win Friends and Influence People. Yeah, that's a really great book. One for both of us, Paul. Thank you for this great session. It's been a joy to sharing thoughts with others. They help. Yeah, so great session. Right, so I think what we'll do is we'll wrap up now. If anyone has specific mindset questions, please inbox me. If you're not already connected with me, connect with me, and then just send me an inbox message. If anyone has any recruitment questions, please, if you can, join Paul at 3 o'clock today. If not, I'm sure he'd be open to you messaging him. Again, I will add the link to my newsletter for mindset tips. If that's relevant or of interest to you, then please do sign up. I'd love to have you. But otherwise, thank you everyone again for showing up today, for taking time, for engaging, and just for supporting each other. There's over 40 people here today. So there's a lot of comments coming through. So if we're going to get that consistent numbers going forward, I'm going to have to, you know, like be a bit more time bound in terms of just picking out the questions. It's not that I don't want to read everyone's comment, but, you know, we are on a little bit of a schedule. We've gone over a little bit. But as I say, if people want to reach out to me and need support or have a question that around something I covered today, then just message me and I will get back to you. Thank you.
Fantastic. Thanks so much, Suzie, and thank you to everybody that's come on today. And it's lovely to see everyone chatting, commenting, getting on, helping each other, along with, you know, the amazing advice that we're getting. So thank you to everyone, Suzie, and everyone else that's you know, that's supporting what we're doing. It means everything. So thanks for all your time.
Yeah, you're welcome. Well, I will see you again next Wednesday at 11 o'clock. So in the meantime, take care and stay safe.
See ya.
See you later.